The truth is that all you get is today. You know, we all know that. You get the present moment. You get the now. If you can learn how to live fully and completely and totally in the present moment and just be there in this moment, realizing that the now is all you ever get and that the future thing that you're all worried about is nothing more than just a now. And everything that's ever happened to you in the past, it didn't really happen to you in the past. It happened to you in the present moment. So that your relationship to life, and this is what I would say to everybody listening today, your relationship to life is really nothing more than your relationship to the present moment, how well you're able to live in it. And if you can find a way to go within, to get peaceful, to meditate, to get quiet, and that's why I always say that the best way to handle all of these kinds of questions that we have for ourselves is to get our attention off of ourselves, off of our ego, off of what's in it for me, and off what I should be doing, and me, all of the I stuff, and just turn it around and begin to serve more. It's what I do all the time when I feel myself struggling, when I don't know quite what to do, even in relationships or with my work or whatever, is I just stop and I go through my mail and I pick out some letters from people who really are struggling and really are having a difficult time, and I reach out to them. And every time that I find myself letting go of thinking about myself and putting my attention on someone else, almost always I start to feel better, the answers become clearer, and I don't get myself so worked up into a dither over what I should be doing or what I shouldn't be doing.
Wayne Dyer was an icon in self-development and spiritual growth. He wrote over 40 books, including an astonishing 21 New York Times bestsellers. His childhood was spent in orphanages and foster homes, but he'd go on to inspire millions and become known as the father of motivation. In this exclusive radio show provided by our partners at Hay House, Wayne Dyer explains how to stop sabotaging yourself, stay in the present moment, and find real happiness. And if you want even more great Hay House content, check out their YouTube channel. We've linked it up down in the description below.
Welcome, Dr. Dyer. You're joining us again from Florida today, and hopefully it's a lot nicer there than it is here in Southern California. We're getting a ton of rain today, which we actually really need.
Oh, my goodness. We always say in Maui, no rain, no rainbows. We're always very grateful for the rain. I always think of rain as one of the great miracles of all. You know, it's like every time it happens, people complain, but it's, without it, none of us could even stay alive for a day. So it's always an amazing gift that all of a sudden just everything, this manna from heaven just showers down on us from the skies and says, here's what you need to sustain yourself, here's what you're made of, here's what your earth is made of, this will grow all your food, this will take care of all your thirst, this will take care of everything. And I love the rain. I love to be in it and walk around it.
And we've got some great callers coming in. I'm noticing a lot of people from Canada today, several Canadian callers, Ontario, Quebec. So let's start with that. Would you like to go to Montreal?
Sure, I'd love to.
Let's check it out. Roxandra on line 1.
Hello.
Welcome to the show. You're on with Dr. Wayne Dyer today.
Thank you.
Hi, Roxanne.
My call. I can't believe it. I'm the first one.
You are. How are you?
So today it worked out well. How am I? I wish I knew how to answer this question, but I could say it could be better, but I'm okay.
Uh-huh. Well, that's good.
I wish I knew a bit more because I'm kind of stuck in a rut work-wise.
Uh-huh.
I mean, not only work-wise, but the work aspect is one of the one that bothers me most because I don't know what to do with my life and find my life purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been back to school for almost 9 years now, and I'm in the middle of a PhD that I don't know if I would finish. So that's a big...
That's not an unusual place for people in PhD programs. You get to a point where you ask yourself, what am I doing and what am I putting myself through this for?
Right, but it's like context-wise. My supervisor died last year. From the beginning, I thought I didn't belong there. Initially, I was rejected. I had to reapply. And although the topic is really interesting because I thought I took it more like a mission. I said, I know I don't want to work in academia for sure. Why am I going through this one? It's very difficult too. So anyway, that's why I'm like, I don't want to do it unless I'm able to say I'm not going to regret it. I don't regret what I've done so far.
Uh-huh.
But this year I'm really kind of, I don't know, maybe I needed to grieve because I had few losses several years, like up to 2 or 3, and maybe I'm very, very tired, so I did kind of, it's in between, like a kind of a transition, but I'm not a step further to figure out what's next for me. I have some areas, but I don't know how to package myself and how really to trust that I can do something.
Well, you really do know how, because no one can teach it to you now, especially now. How old are you?
49 last week.
Yeah, so you're, almost a half a century, 50 times around the sun. You pretty much know how to do it, Roxanne. The fact is that you've just been trained with a bunch of memes to believe that, things have to be a certain way and that you have to do things the way, that you programmed yourself to do them or someone else programmed you to do them. You get into a program and then you start asking questions about, is this where I belong? Should I be doing this? I don't know. And the fact is, all of it is just not even worth the agony that you put yourself through.
Yeah, probably not.
It really isn't. The truth is that all you get is today. We all know that. This is, you get the present moment. You get the now. If you can learn how to live fully and completely and totally in the present moment and just be there in this moment, realizing that the now is all you ever get, and that the future thing that you're all worried about is nothing more than just a now. And everything that's ever happened to you in the past, it didn't really happen to you in the past. It happened to you in the present moment. So that your relationship to life, and this is what I would say to everybody listening today, your relationship to life is really nothing more than your relationship to the present moment, how well you're able to live in it. And if you can find a way to go within, to get peaceful, to meditate, to get quiet, and that's why I always say the best way to handle all of these kinds of questions that we have for ourselves is to get our attention off of ourselves, off of our ego, off of what's in it for me, and off what I should be doing, and me, all of the I stuff, and just turn it around and begin to serve more. It's what I do all the time when I feel myself struggling, when I don't know quite what to do, even in relationships or with my work or whatever, is I just stop and I go through my mail and I pick out some letters from people who really are struggling and really are having a difficult time, and I reach out to them, and every time that I find myself letting go of thinking about myself and putting my attention on someone else, almost always I start to feel better, the answers become clearer, and I don't get myself so worked up into a dither over what I should be doing or what I shouldn't be doing. It's like I used to always quote from my friend Artie Pine, who was my agent many, many years ago. He passed away a few years back, and he used to say, I'm an old man and I've had many troubles, most of which have never happened.
True.
Almost all
I'm a
things.
good warrior, unfortunately. It's a learn. I know learn. A part of it is a lot learned, but I'm very good at worrying.
You're what?
Which is not healthy, obviously, and I kind of in between this space, like struggling, stop worrying, and then beating myself up for it. And the problem is that I tried meditation, and I am not able to maintain a routine. I mean, I know how to meditate. I mean, at least one type, because I have tried it. It worked at one point, but then even when I try to do yoga or something, if I do it at home, I do it 2-3 days, and then I move to something else and get distracted with other things. And I know that would be one of the solutions to really. And part of the problem was that in the beginning, that's how I stopped it, was I cannot stand to see my thoughts. It's so annoying that, can't believe I'm thinking so much.
I know.
So bad.
I can hear it even in your voice. And you say to yourself, okay, I try yoga and I do it for 2 or 3 days and then I lose interest in it. Well, but what's wrong with that? And
I think that's the bottom line, to realize there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that at all. And so you let go of yoga for a few days, and then you wake up one day and you say, I think I'll do yoga again. And, we all get conditioned with these, I call them memes and Excuses Be Gone. Have you read Excuses Be Gone? I really think you should read that. It would be very, very helpful to you. Mm-hmm. It's about overcoming all of these lifetime thinking habits. And the display quote for that book says, don't believe everything that you think. Right. Because you've been conditioned to think that you're supposed to be on a right track. You're almost 50 years old. You should know what you're doing. You should know where you're going. You're in a program. You should finish the program. You should have some discipline. And there's no should about any of that. All you have to do is just enjoy yourself. And the best way to enjoy yourself and to be happy is to forget about yourself and reach out and serve other people. That's the greatest way to find your happiness. That's what I would recommend, truly, especially with the holiday season coming up.
Yeah, it's on my list, and it's just that I have to move it and act on it. Because I said, I have to go volunteer somewhere. I have to.
Absolutely.
I was too busy with my little selfish things.
Absolutely. Too much ego, too much worry, too much concern about myself and what's in it for me, and am I doing the right thing? And we could trace that back to your parents and their parents and their parents' parents. And but
it doesn't help anymore because I'm tired of understanding. I've overanalyzed everything, and I want to move on.
Absolutely. My friend Stuart Wilde has we used to have a thing down on a refrigerator. He used to say, there are many things in life that I do not understand. And I like it that way.
Yeah.
You don't have to understand it.
Well, I'm not sure I will ever let go of that 100%, but,
but
I want to keep the learner part.
Give yourself permission to just be. You know, listen to the Beatles. You know, go listen to Let It Be, Let It Be. There will come an answer, let it be. It's one of the great slogans of all time. Just, stop the struggling, the internal stuff that you do with your mind, and just enjoy. You watch. Everything that you need will come along. We got to move along. Okay. I'm going to send you a copy of the shift, so stay tuned, okay?
Thank you very much, Dr. Wayne.
Thank you, Roxanne. Happy holidays.
Bye. Happy holidays.
Bye-bye.
And we'll get Roxandra a DVD copy, send her one out to Quebec. And we've got 2 minutes, maybe time to get started with someone really quickly. So let's go to Judy. She's also calling from Canada, from Ontario, and wants to know about self-sabotaging. A great question. Welcome, Judy.
Hi.
Hi, Judy.
Thank you for taking my call. And Dr. Dyer, I want to thank you for all of the work that you do. It's just awesome stuff, and it's really helped me a lot.
Thank you very much.
My question today, though, is you only have 2 minutes, so I'll be very quick.
No, that's okay. We can always come back if we have to.
That's okay. Every time I start to move forward with anything that I want to do that I'm excited about, but in particular weight loss, I start to get body problems. Like right now, I've really decided to take the next level towards being fit and healthy, and my back goes out. So the things that I plan to do, I can't do. And it's not that it's going out because I'm not doing exercises properly. It's even before I get started. So I'm wondering, what is in your head? Like, I've been reading Excuses Be Gone, and it's not a conscious thought. It just sort of happens, and I'm wondering, what is that self-sabotage somewhere in those memes that...
That's a really good question, because I know I do the same thing myself. As a matter of fact, I was just telling Diane, both of us were talking about having a lower back pain ourselves today.
Well, maybe it's just going around then.
No, I don't think that it's going around. As much as I think that when you set yourself up to do something that you haven't been able to do for a long time, like how long have you been not in the weight level that you would like to be? How long have you been overweight? How many?
10 years.
So you got 10 years. You got a whole decade behind you of carrying around excess. How much extra weight?
About 160 at this point.
160 extra?
Yep.
Okay. Basically, you're saying that you're self up with a goal or an ambition of some kind to get yourself back into the kind of shape that you know you belong in, and that is your birthright. And that as soon as you make the commitment to do that, something goes a whack, and off you go.
Right.
You're listening to someone who has been an addict for a good part of his life, or at least part of addictive behavior. As a kid, it was to Coca-Cola and sugar, and then it was to nicotine, and then it was to alcohol and drugs and things like this. And so I know the game, all right? And when you want to change something like an addictive pattern, and you're talking about an addiction to food here, obviously, because you're saying you're carrying around an extra 160 pounds. That's another person and a half, an extra person that you're carrying around, and you know all of the dangers of doing such a thing to your body.
Correct.
And you want to make the change. And when I wanted to make the change to stop drinking Coca-Cola, for example, when I wanted to stop with the caffeine, or when I wanted to stop with the nicotine, or stop with the alcohol, and so on, I would find myself that there's a sabotaging system built into addictive behavior. And this sabotaging system is one that really, because I think that things like sugar, which is one of the things you're addicted to, I can feel it, is something that is an entity all unto itself, and it has almost a design on you, and it begins to speak to you in a certain way, and it begins to say to you begin to say, well, I'm going to overcome this, this overeating thing, this lack of exercising thing, and the entity, whether it's cocaine, or whether it's sugar, or caffeine, or whether it's alcohol, or whatever it might be, almost speaks back to you and says, you think it's going to be that easy? You think I'm going to let go of you quite like that?
And that's how it feels.
Pardon me?
That's how it feels.
Yeah, I don't believe that it's just how it feels. I believe that's true. Okay, I believe that it does. Like everything in the universe has an energy system. Cocaine is an energy system. Caffeine is an energy system, and it's like, and there's just little pieces of it, but there's one great big energy system, and it's showing up in all kinds of ways. So that when you set yourself up to go ahead and do what it is that you really want to do, and you start talking to yourself in the right way, and having the right affirmations, and doing all the kinds of things that we speak about here on A House Radio, and that I speak about in my book, in many of my books, and in the film, and so on. What happens is that self-sabotaging system begins to kick in, and it begins to say, if you think that's going to be easy, then I'm going to take this away from you. I'm going to make it more difficult for you to. And what you have to do, Judy, more than anything else, is connect to your highest self. And the highest place within you is really God. And so it's like, instead of saying, I've quoted this a few times on the show, my friend Patty Davis, who was President Reagan's daughter, who was, if you know anything about her, was a cocaine addict. Well, Reagan was president and had a terrible relationship with her father and with her mother and so on. And she used to say, I'm going to quit this, but I'm going to stop disappointing myself. I'm so tired of disappointing myself. And every time she would do that, again, something would come in and she would sabotage herself and she'd go back on another binge, and before you know it, she'd be right back where she started. And then she said she finally came to a place in her heart where she said, I just decided that I no longer wanted to disappoint God. And I think this is something that you might want to think about really hard. You came into this world from a place of well-being, from a place of perfect well-being. You didn't come into this world obese. You didn't come into this world with any inclinations towards obesity or towards carrying around all of this extra weight that you have allowed to pile onto yourself. What you did is you came into a place aligned with God, aligned with your spirit, and you allowed yourself to get away from your spirit. I recommend that you get back and say to yourself, I no longer intending to disappoint God when you behave in a certain way or when you go to church or so on. I'm talking about the highest place within yourself, the place that you originated from, your source of being, and that is who you are at the very highest level. You're not here as a human being having a spiritual experience. It's the reverse, Judy. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. And that spiritual part of yourself, you have disappointed it, and you're sad about it. And so every time you go to get yourself back into that aligned place, this energy, whether it's the sugar or whether it's the sitting around or whether it's the sore back or whatever it is, begins to kick in and to try to get you off of that path because you've been so accustomed to being on a non-spiritual path. So what you want to do is when the backache comes and all of that, you say, that's fine, but I'm still not going to overeat today, and I'm still going to walk around the block. Even though I said I wouldn't, I'm going to even do it with a sore back. In other words, I'm going to talk back to these self-sabotaging lifetime thinking habits that I have had. And I'm going to talk back to them in a way that they've never been talked to before. I'm going to remind myself and go through the paradigm. Have you read Excuses Be Gone?
Yes, I have it on my desk still, yeah.
Good.
I still look at it all the time.
Okay, the seven-part paradigm at the end of that book with the first question is, what thoughts do I have? Is it true that it's going to be difficult for me to change? Is it true that it's going to take me a long time? Is it true that I don't have the strength to do this? And you begin to realize that those thoughts simply are not true. You're letting yourself be guided by false statements, false thoughts within yourself. And as you begin to make that shift into the truer statement, which is, I have within me the capacity to be the perfect well-being person that I was intended to be, and you hang on to that affirmation consistently, when the backache comes, you'll just ignore the backache. You know, when you say, I'm too tired, you'll ignore the tiredness. When your schedule changes and it just seems like you were all ready to go do your exercise and it doesn't work, you'll do your exercise before you go to bed. You'll sleep a little bit less, whatever it might be. You'll start to use the discipline that you have, that your spirit is speaking to you of, instead of the part of you, the ego part of you, which is always looking for some reason to stay and do the easiest thing. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, and you can do this.
That.
You really can do this. Keep in touch with me, okay? I'd like to hear your progress on this, because once you have an affirmation, I'm going to be writing a book called Wishes Fulfilled, and it's really based on the great teachings of Neville Goddard. And Neville speaks about the power of assuming. You know, your imagination is the greatest gift that you've been given. In your imagination, you see yourself weighing and looking the way you want to. You even draw a picture of yourself, looking, or find the picture of yourself from 10 years ago when you were the weight that you wanted to be, and you reproduce that as many places as you can. You put it in your car, you put it on your refrigerator, you put it on your bed, you put it on your mirror where you put your makeup on. You have that picture everywhere to constantly remind yourself that who I am is this divine, perfect piece of well-being that I originated from, and that's where I intend to stay, and God will help you do it, I promise.
That's an awesome idea. I never thought of doing that.
Yeah, start with it right now. And when we hang up the phone, you know, you got a backache?
Yes.
You know, where are you, in Ontario?
Yes.
Okay, so put your warmer clothes on, whatever it is, and go, just, if you'll do this for me, just walk around the block.
Okay. I don't need warmer clothes. I have 160 extra pounds.
Okay, can you walk around the block? Just walk around the block once today.
Okay.
Okay, just go do that. And try to walk briskly, no matter how much your back hurts. Just do that. Okay? And now you've taken your first step. But before you do that, we're going to give you an address, and we're going to send you a copy of the shift.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks, Judy. God bless you, my friend.
You too.
Namaste.
And let's go to Mandy next. She's calling from Orange, California on line 4. And thanks for joining us, Mandy. You're on with Dr. Wayne Dyer.
Hi, thank you so much for taking my call.
Mandy, there's a minister handy, and it sure would be dandy if we let him make a peace. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
So don't you linger. Here's a ring for your finger for Mandy and me. Okay, that's a song to look up. How are you, dear?
I'm doing okay.
Good.
I'm calling because my husband has decided that he no longer wants to be married.
Mm-hmm.
We have 2 small children, and it's sort of come out of nowhere. And I need to know how I can handle this gracefully and not react with anger, because we have children and we need to be friends. And I don't know if I can do that or...
Yes, you can do that, dear. Yes, you can do that. Has this been something that's been coming on, or is it a big surprise to you?
It was a really big surprise. I mean, we're not perfect. You know, we've kind of taken each other for granted over time, but I never realized he was so unhappy. He's never shared that. He's been stuffing his feelings rather than telling me how he feels, and it got too much for him to handle, and then he just snapped and just said, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore.
Is he seeing someone else?
I've asked him, and I don't believe that's the case. He says no, he's not where he thought he would be. He doesn't feel like the man he should be. He doesn't feel like he's providing for us financially the way he should be by this point in his life. And he's just, I feel like he has a lot of self-esteem issues that he's reacting like he's running. I'm not sure. I don't understand it.
How old is he?
He's 34.
And how long have you been married?
We've been married almost 9 years.
And your reaction is, I mean, as far as you're being able to handle this, yes? I mean, you sound rational. You sound like you know you have to be friends, that you can't, and divorce isn't that uncommon a thing. Like every other marriage ends in it in our country. So it's not like half the people in the country are failures. You know, it's not that you failed at anything. You've produced a result. But the question is, where are you emotionally in this thing? You're the mom of 2 little children.
Well, I don't want it to end. I think that we have such a good foundation, and we've been friends for so long and together for so long that I want to work at it, and he can't do that. And so I feel like if we end this without trying to get counseling, that it's throwing it away.
Yeah, I understand.
Like, I'm asking him, 6 months. Let's try it for 6 months. And if you can't change, I'll let you go. I'll let you go do what you need to do. But to just up and walk out on it, I don't understand that.
It doesn't sound right to me, Mandy. It really doesn't.
He's not leaving the home. He wants to. I can't afford our home by myself, but he wants to make sure that financially I'm still able to stay in our house for the girls, even if that means he has to live with his parents. And so I don't really understand what he's doing. It feels like he has guilt and self-esteem issues, and I don't know when do I let him go.
It feels, and I'm just talking instinctively here, but it feels to me like he's been seeing somebody else, and that's a hard thing for him to be able to admit to and doesn't want to. I'm just telling you that off the top of my head, that's what registers. Yeah. I don't know that it's true or not, and I have no right to say it other than it's just what I feel, and that's how I run this radio show.
And it's not the first time I've heard it either, so...
Yeah. Have you had any suspicion of anything like that in the last 6 months or so?
He has, a best friend that he's really close to, but she's a lesbian, and so, I've met her girlfriends, and we've spent time together.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, has he stayed away from you sexually, for example, in the last 6 months or so?
No.
No?
No.
So you still have a physical closeness?
We aren't now, not for the last couple of weeks, because I told him, I said, if this is what you want, we can't lead one life and not the other, because I will think that you want to be with me. I'll misunderstand that, and so we cut it off.
Yeah.
He's staying in the home. He's sleeping on the sofa. We haven't told our children yet. We haven't told our family. He doesn't have a plan for what he wants to do, and that makes me confused, too. Why wouldn't he have a plan? If this is
what I want you to do, Mandy, what I want you to do, because we only have a few minutes here, what I want you to do is to go within, and I want you to meditate and get quiet, and I want you to find the strength that has allowed you to give birth to those 2 girls of yours, and that has allowed you to hold this family together and has allowed you to, be the woman, the strong woman that you are, and stay in that strength. And begin to realize and recognize that, whether or not you're with your husband or not with your husband, that your sense of your strength and your peace and your confidence in yourself is not going to be determined on the basis of anything that he does. Okay, he doesn't get control of that. He doesn't get to decide whether or not you're going to be this strong, a powerful woman. Now, my personal recommendation, I'm doing this on just a few minutes of talking to you, would be to tell him, if you really don't want to be married to me, then you should be leaving right now. And you should be making arrangements to take care of your family and to financially make sure that we're all in good shape. Are you working?
Yes.
You are. So if that's really where you want to be, and let him experience what this feels like, because it's one thing that he may be going through some kind of a midlife crisis, or he might be going through some kind of a difficulty. I suspect of something else. But regardless of what my suspicions are, let him experience what it feels like. I just don't think living in limbo is going to be a healthy thing for you or for the children.
I'm sorry, that's what I was thinking, too. He wants to wait until after the holidays so that we don't disrupt the children, and the timing is so bad that...
I think what I would offer to your husband is, I want to save this marriage, and it's very important to me. But if you don't feel the same way, then obviously, it can't be done just by one person. If we need to seek out counseling or marriage therapy of some kind, I'd be happy to participate. If you're not willing to do that, and you made up your mind that you want to end this marriage, then I'm inviting you to leave today, and we'll set up a legal arrangement so that you take care of your financial responsibilities, and we'll move on with our lives. And let him see what the consequences of that are, because if it's not this holiday season, it's going to be another holiday season. And I think putting those things on hold, I think letting him know the consequences of his behavior and what he is asking, the consequences of that, especially with two small children, are very, very serious. And he needs to know it, and that he doesn't have someone who's sitting at home waiting for him to make up his mind whether he wants to work on this or not.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Complete.
Yeah, and you sound like a strong man. I wouldn't be afraid of this at all. How is your relationship to your children?
It's wonderful.
And how about his relationship to them?
He's been disconnected for a while, and I think it goes back to his self-esteem issues. He loves them, and he's a great father, but he doesn't give them everything that... He has a lot of distractions. He uses his laptop and his phone to keep himself busy. Yeah. So he has a lot of, self-esteem issues, and he doesn't want to face...
But you don't need to be buried in his self-esteem issues, okay?
Yeah.
That's, if he's got that to work on and you're willing to work on it with him, that's one thing. But for you to sit around and be sad inside and worry, it's not going to do any good for you or anyone else. And he needs, as I said, when people make these kinds of assertions and they come at you, then they need to know the consequences of their behavior. And and these are the consequences. You're giving up your children. You're giving up your role as father. You're giving up your role as a husband. If you want to work on it, I'm here for you. If you don't, then you need to get out there and work on it yourself, and I'll be fine.
Okay.
Okay, sweetheart?
Thank you so much.
Stand by. Have you seen the shift?
I haven't.
We're going to send you a copy, okay?
I'm guessing it's going to be very helpful.
I think it will be. I'm sure it will be. Thanks. God bless you, man.
Thank you.
Namaste.
And we have time for one more, the bonus call that we never think we have time for.
Right.
And let's go to Deborah, line 3, calling from New York. Hi, Deborah. You still there? Thanks for holding.
Yes.
Hi, Deborah.
Hi, Wayne. I am so thrilled. I feel so blessed to be able to speak with you.
Thank you. I do, too.
I have been a fan of yours since your erroneous zones.
My goodness.
Back when I was a young adult.
You're an old person like me now, then.
Yes, well, I'm 53.
Oh, you're just a baby.
Oh, yeah. I think we're all babies in the soul.
That's true.
So, Wayne, I have a rather unique situation. I recently retired from the NYPD, where I was a sergeant for over 25 years.
Right.
And so I have devoted my life to service. Mm-hmm. And the last few years, I got certified in executive coaching and leadership training, and I thought that would be my second career. Mm-hmm. I have had this incredible desire to set up a foundation for returning military members who are coming back from active duty to help reacclimate them to civilian life, help them get a start with counseling, maybe some job fairs. And it's a very strong desire. I think of it all the time. So what I'm planning on doing is writing a book on leadership and, using the coaching method of leadership to help people. Because in the paramilitary organizations like the NYPD and like the military, you bark out an order, you expect it to be followed, or else there's negative consequences. Mm-hmm. Whereas the coaching method is to really identify the individual, find out what it is that makes them want to participate, and speak to that. So I'm looking to do that and to set up this foundation. I retired in April. I started writing the book, and I have just lost complete motivation. I find myself just, letting it all fall by the wayside.
Yeah, I'd like you to go. You're in New York?
Yes.
So maybe tonight you can go out and see this film called Brothers.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
No.
Have you heard about it?
I saw commercials on the TV.
It's about returning servicemen, and it was made for you. So that will be a good thing to get started.
Okay.
Just see if you can find out where it's playing and go see that.
Okay.
And again, it's like what we were talking about throughout this whole show. It's like a theme has been, is to take some kind of action, any kind of action, specific action. Because what happens is, and this is, again, it goes back to when I write about an excuses be gone, we fall back into our habitual self-sabotaging ways. Once we get an idea, we think that it's great and all of that, and we put it out there and we start, and then we start to lose interest because everything isn't falling into place, or because God isn't just putting it right into our lap and saying, here it is for you. It's for you, I think, just reinvigorating yourself with the notion of how important this is, and then find one returning service member in your neighborhood. Somebody, are you in New York City or New York State?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in New York City, so you shouldn't have any difficulty with that.
No, not at all.
A veteran's affair. And just bring one person over to your house that you can start coaching.
Okay.
Whoever it might be, somebody that's come home from If you can't, then you can go over to one of the military hospitals.
To watch another amazing Wayne Dyer video, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.